Welcome to the Militia Gaming community. I'm Trigger, and today we talk about the 2010 BMW M3 in Need for Speed Heat. Let's go! Real quick before we get into the video, I just want to mention, if you like real car builds, I'm building a 2004 Acura RSX Type S on my second channel. There will be a link in the description down below. Go check that out if you are interested. All right, let's get into it. So the first piece of information I want to give you is the fastest engine for the car. And in this case, it's the 710 horsepower, 3.9 liter V8. This engine was by far the best engine for the car. No other engine even came close, even though when you look at some of the stats, the other engines give you more horsepower, more torque, or even on the 4 stats that are at the top that say out of 10, what is this car? The top power stat, sometimes you will see a higher power stat. Like there are 2 engines for this car that actually give you all 10s on the stats, but they don't perform better on the track. So stick with the 710 horsepower 3.9 liter V8. It's absolutely the fastest race engine for this car. Now, I was able to run a 255.5 on Arian, which is around 13th on my list, which is actually really good. This is in the top 20 cars that I've tested, and I think we're nearing 80 cars or a little over 80 cars now. So that's actually really not that bad. When I ran it on Sonic, it did better than I anticipated. It's a 239.3. Of course, that can be improved with a better driver, but this is my fastest time for this car on Sonic, and that's actually really good as well. Anything sub 240, you know you've got a car that runs pretty fast. So the one thing I want to mention on this car before we get into the full build is the handling. It has a very tough time keeping traction. You can actually break the back end loose without even starting the drifting mechanic. If you just turn very hard, you put the left stick all the way to the left or the right and just hold it there, the car will begin to drift. It's just absolutely insane. It's got no weight in the back end of the car. So with that, you have to increase your downforce. I put it all the way up to downforce +5. The car is super slippy, and it just doesn't feel like you've got enough traction and acceleration when you start a drift. So that is the only issue that I see with this car, aside from it not having a whole lot of acceleration off the line. But it does run pretty well on the track because, like I said, you do get some drifty turns. So on turns that require a drift, this car is actually pretty fast. All right, let's give you the full track build, and then we'll move on to the drag build. We've got the 710 horsepower 3.9 liter V8, Ultimate Plus engine parts with a dual turbo, 5x3 pound NOS, super track suspension, elite brakes, elite track tires. Usually I go race tires. I went track tires in this one because, like I said, the back end is super slidey. You need all the grip you can get. Elite Plus clutch, Elite Plus 8-speed gearbox, super track differential, NOS refills, NOS duration, and then steering sensitivity -5 because you don't want to break that back end loose, and then downforce +5, traction control off, and drift style on gas. All right, moving on to the drag build. This drag build really isn't that great. It's probably one of the worst drag cars in the game. It's at least in the bottom third of the cars that I've tested. We were able to get a quarter mile of 8.97 and a 0 to 60 of 1.93. It's just like very blah. It's not a very good time. With that said, though, if you still want to use it as a drag car, here's the drag build. We've got the 710 horsepower 3.9 liter V8. We've got Ultimate Plus engine parts, dual turbo, and a 1x15 pound NOS, super track suspension, elite brakes, elite drag tires, Elite Plus clutch, Elite 7-speed gearbox, super track differential, NOS refills and duration, and then of course steering sensitivity will leave it at -5, and then -5 on your downforce as well, traction control off, and drift style on gas. All right, moving on to the drift build. This build is actually really good. This car drifts very well. It's easy to control with the build that I'm giving you, and it really functions. It scores really high. So this car, I would say, is probably in the top 15 in terms of drift cars. It's not like as good as the RX-7, but it is definitely above average. This is a car you can for sure use to 3-star all of the events, and it probably won't give you that much trouble. It's a very high scoring drift car. With that said, here's the drift build. I actually swapped to the 640 horsepower 8.4 liter V10 because it gives a significant amount of torque more than the 3.9 liter V8. So I'd rather have that V10 with a 5-speed gearbox. The combo works a little better for me, keeps the wheels spinning, it makes it easier. So swap the engine to the 640 8.4 liter V10. Then we've got Ultimate Plus engine parts, Ultimate dual turbo 5x3 pound NOS. We've got a super speed cross suspension, elite brakes, elite drag tires, elite plus clutch, super 5-speed gearbox, and the Pro Drift differential. Now remember, this build is for automatic users. If you're using a manual setup, you can switch some things around. It'll still work for manual, but it's just not as ideal as for automatic. So this is something that is for a little bit of a lower skilled player when it comes to drifting. I would use this. Personally, this works for me perfectly, and I run an automatic transmission. So this is a good build for that. Keep in mind, I know there's some people out there like, hey, your drift builds are kind of off because you could get some more angle if you're using speed cross everything, or, you know, drift tires or something like that. But this build is really aimed at the average player, and it will help you score high and control the car at the same time. All right, anyway, the steering sensitivity is +5, downforce -5, traction control is off, and drift style is on gas. All right, lastly, let's take a look at the off-road build. Now, this build actually surprised me. I didn't think this car was gonna be that quick off-road, but it actually is really good. It ranks in the top 30 for off-road cars, which is good considering there's, you know, 120 or 130 cars in the game. So top 30, it does pretty good. I ran a 151.3 on HTV2 and a 314.4 on Rumble, and as you know, for me to rank them, I add those times together and then I rank it with the combined time, and in this case it's 505.7. so again, like I said, it's in the top 30. I think 505.7 puts it at 27, I think, overall. So this is actually a really good off-road build. I would definitely recommend it. So throw up the build card, let's see what it looks like. I went back to the 710 horsepower 3.9 liter V8. I've got the Ultimate Plus engine parts, Ultimate dual turbo, and the 5x3 pound NOS. We got super rally suspension, elite brakes, elite off-road tires, elite plus clutch, super 5-speed gearbox, and this super rally differential. We've got NOS refills, NOS duration, and of course steering sensitivity. I left it at -5, and then I put the downforce at -5 also. If it becomes a little too slippy like mid-race, just increase your downforce a little bit. But for those two tracks, I think downforce -5 worked out pretty well. Traction control is off and drift style is on gas. All right guys, and with that I'm going to end the video, but not before mentioning we are going to make an attempt at a world record, and I need your help. If any of you are interested, if you're on PC, I want to make a crew and do a stream and level that crew from 0 to 50 within about 30 minutes. But we're going to need 32 really good, excellent nighttime drivers. Hopefully you guys are interested. If you are, there's a link in the description down below. Go in there, fill out your information on the form. I just need some basic stuff so that I know what time zone you're in, what your gamer tag is, things like that. And then I will send invites to our Discord server for the people that I want to join us on that event. I'll be doing this sometime in the next couple of weeks, so go in, fill out your information, and then wait to hear from me. Again, it's PC only because the crews are actually platform specific, so you can't join if you're on PlayStation or Xbox. I might do it again on Xbox, I'm not sure, but let's just stick with PC for now. If you recall, I did this a couple of weeks ago with some friends, and we only had about 12 or 13 people. We were able to do it in 2.5 hours. So I think we can get it done in a half an hour if we have all 32 people playing at the exact same time. So that's what we're going to try to do. Anyway, hit the link in the description, fill out your information if you're on PC and you'd like to be a part of it, and yeah, I'll contact you. Hey, before I go, shout out to all the Heat 5 members of the channel. If you want to see your name up here with the rest of these legends, all you have to do is click the join button below and become a Heat 5 member. By doing this, you'll be supporting the channel in ways you will not believe, and you get all kinds of sweet perks like members only streams and specific exclusive Discord channel access. Thank you so much guys, I appreciate it. You guys' support on this series has been amazing and I really appreciate that. So shout out to all the subs. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.